Well, welcome back everybody to the Motorsport Manager single-seater playthrough. Time for round number 2 of Season 6 then. I think we were pretty lucky last time out. Obviously, there was a lot of chaos, a lot of AI failures, a lot of unreliability about the race, and we just about managed to manage our way through it to get 2nd and 5th, which is a good start, but let's not kid ourselves. Our car still needs an awful lot of work if we're going to challenge for a title. But what it also did was bring our bank balance back somewhere towards the green. And it means we got a bit of money to spend on the car itself now. Now that I know how much we're going to be making per race and we're not massively in debt anymore, I'm confident we can start putting parts on the car. So it depends if we want to go for the biggest upgrades, which would probably be the gearbox, or try and improve our weakest parts. Now, I think until we get a bit more money in the bank, I will go for the weakest parts because it will also be one of the cheaper upgrades. So I think we're going to build some new suspension parts and just get that base of our car up. And it will also allow us, as I say, just to make a bit more money before we... So I don't want to go hugely into the red because obviously we got a new chairman and we're going to have to go some to meet the targets of the new chairman anyway, getting 2nd or above in each race in terms of the team result. So yeah, let's upgrade the suspension. It won't be as costly, but it will still improve the worst parts of our car, and hopefully by bringing the average of the car up, that will help in general. One mistake by the pit crew last time out, probably from Paul, who's just very tired. It was, yes. So let's switch him out for Fleming. And everybody else looks okay, but if we got someone better than Marquez, because that fixing is a little worrying, considering. So let's put Rivero in for Marquez. And then the stamina, I think, of everybody else is generally okay. And could probably do another race without a mistake, and then we'll sort some people out next time. I don't think... Ooh, Lentil is pretty good. Obviously terrible at fixing, but pretty great at everything else, and 100 stamina. I think we'll bring him on board then. Because that is one thing, obviously, that we spend money on that will stay with us next season, as long as we remember to keep up with the contracts. So this pit crew will be an investment for the future as well. In which case we can probably put Lentil straight in on the tyres. And that'll be an improvement and bring our pit stop times down a little bit. Right, I think we're ready to continue with the episode then. So we'll wait until the fixes are made to the car. Which they should be now. And then we'll continue improving. I think we'll go 5.15. And we will start making some small improvements to the performance. But reliability, as it showed last race, looks like it's back to being very important early on. So I think we will try and concentrate on that as much as possible. So let's try and bring the minimums up, and then we can improve them as needs be. It's changed the blooming... Oh, it's because we haven't put any performance on, isn't it? Actually, we will. I think we will just stay solely on reliability for the 2nd race, purely because of how crucial it was last time. And we could have even got sort of 2nd and maybe 3rd or 4th instead of 5th. If I think we'll wait for some more sponsor offers on that front. If we hadn't have had to repair the front wing. So I think we will once again go with our old strategy of just trying to get the best reliability we can on the car, and then we'll try and push the performance up as much as we can after the grid seems to have equaled out. So let's switch that rear wing over to there. I'll switch the suspension over to there. So we're just trying to bring those minimum levels up. We do have some new suspension built now, so we will straight away build another suspension. And then we'll probably have to wait a race or two to try and get back into the green. And we got a designer component here, which is useful. I think that's going to be the best option. 544601. Actually, no. It is a designer trait, but it's the actual base one is actually better. So we'll go with plus 5 days, but plus 40 to max. And I'm not going to be improving the suspension again for the rest of the season if the same kind of level of upgrades persists as they have the last few seasons. So we may as well make them as good as we can as early as we can. Now I think I will switch to that suspension and see if we can get it up to the 60-ish mark to get it ready for next time. Mail's just telling us that. Continue on. And I just want to wait for one more sponsor before we decide which one to go with. It doesn't look like it's going to give us any time soon, so we might actually just take one of those two if it's a fixed payment, so that we make sure we get it this race. 65, 65, 66. So I think we'll switch to the brakes and try and get those up a couple of percent. We've snagged some of the most lucrative sponsorship deals around. Okay, great. Well, there are 3 offers. It only says 2 because that was too new. Right, what are the 2 targets we've got at the moment? 2nd or above or 4th or above? And 4th or above is 800,000 as a bonus pool. So we could go for that, which will guarantee us 7th or above. I think and it gives us the upfront payment as well. Okay, I think we'll take that. Get some money in the bank, and that's a bit more, maybe a bit more realistic target, just to make sure we get that money in every race. It's 3 places different, and it's only 200,000, and we're more likely to hit that in qualifying as well. So, and it's PlaySport. We're sponsored by the game makers. Okay, that's a bit meta, but I guess it's their game. They can do what they want. Right, new chairman's going to moan at us about money. Don't worry, we'll get it back. Just look at my track record. I mean, anyone else would have been able to get this team up into the 2nd division in 6 seasons. Oh wait, that's not very good, really, is it? No, it's not good at all. Right, we'll go with PlaySport then and say that just guarantees us hopefully that 600,000. I should hope that we can get 7th in qualifying and the race. We were 10th in Singapore, so we'll be looking for a small improvement this time. Right, how did that suspension go? 55. It's not a massive difference between 55 and 61. So, and it's a big improvement in terms of performance. So I think we will put that on Ekka's car. Just to give us a little performance boost. And we are ready to go then. So as always, I shall get practice underway and I'll be back with you shortly for qualifying. Okay, out into qualifying then, and I've tried to get them out in this little dry spell in the middle, and I think I failed miserably. We didn't go out for a run on the intermediates because I was going to try and get them out in this period, but the rain showed up just as I sent them out, so I don't think either of them are going to get a lap in. So we'll have them persevere with it because it might be dry enough for them to still be quicker than those on intermediates, and then once we come back into the pits we'll see what it's going to do at the end of the session as whether it's worth sending them out on intermediates. And I guess it depends on the comparison between the times they do now and those on the intermediates. It was a pretty good practice session. It was pretty wet. I tried to force through some running on some dry tyres to get the objectives there as they both cross the line. They are 1st and 2nd though, so that might have been a masterstroke once again, because it might have been wet, but it was still, the beginning of the lap was very dry, so they managed to somehow get those times in, and it's going to be wet till the end of the session. So I think, again, as I always am when this kind of thing's happened, a little stunned. Also stunned that the AI didn't, read the situation. At least one of them have done the same thing. But we're going to be on pole. Ekka's going to be on pole from Munro. Great. Yeah, setups were good. 99% for Ekka. Still can't get that 100% setup, but 99 is as good as we're ever going to get, I think. And Munro was 97 as well. So good setups. As I said, I tried to force some running on the dry tyres even when it was a bit damp to get those slots, because it said it was going to be dry for qualifying in the race. Well, qualifying hasn't been dry, so we'll see about the race as to whether that was the right way to go, because if it's a wet race we haven't got any bonuses to offer up on intermediate tyres. But wow, I mean, we'll see really how quick our car is now, because we're starting first and second, and Eka's got a habit when she gets that result, even when she's not got the car under her, she can still sometimes manage to dominate the race. So, and it's raining, which she's very good at in the rain, so hopefully we can have a good race here. We've got everything stacked in our favour. It's going to be raining throughout the beginning of the race, so we will start on intermediate tyres. So we'll go race trim and soft tyres. As I say, stupidly I didn't do any running on intermediates in practice, thinking that the race was going to be dry, so we perhaps could have got a little bonus on the inters, but alas, we have not. It's no problem. Right, the intermediates are going to do 16 to 18 laps. There's only a 14 lap fuel tank, so there's no real question on strategy really. We just go with it. We just have to hope that if it stops raining, then it stops within 14 laps, otherwise we're going to have to stop again. But here we go then, for a very rare situation, as we lock out the front row. How will they do off the line? Brilliant start from both of them. Munro getting a slightly better start, but being blocked off by Eka, and our two cars go head to head into turn 1 then, and they are already a second clear of the field. I'm not quite sure how long this will hold up if they continue to fight as they're doing. But let's go on up to 2-speed then. And just going to throttle the fuel back to high and the tyres to push for the moment. See if we can stretch that gap a little bit more early on. Eka has managed to hold off Munro then and retains the lead of the race. And as we come across the line at the end of lap 1, still a second advantage over the rest of the field, but that is being closed back up rapidly. So we're going to go to neutral and medium on the fuel. If everybody starts to come back at us, then so be it. At the end of the day, this could be, well, this is going to be a very strategy-driven race. At the same time, it's going to have to be a race where we look after the cars. But as has happened before, Munro defending well and holding up everybody, and Eka is disappearing into the distance. She's currently the quickest person on track, and hopefully she can continue to extend this lead. Now, every time we've had this happen before, we've destroyed our tyres before everybody else, so that needs to be our priority here. She's clearly got the pace at the moment, but quite a lot of that could be down to the fact that Munro is doing a beautiful job as rear gunner and seems to be holding up the entire field at the moment, because if we have a look back, there is almost no gaps developing between everybody else. So it's just Munro doing an incredible job defending that is allowing Eka to build this lead. So long may this continue. I was thinking about going to... The thing is, the tyres aren't going to last the distance because of fuel. So we may as well push, warm them up a bit and take a couple of laps off the life, because we can't really do much apart from going down to low fuel mode. And the rain is going to be stopping around about lap 12 then. So this is going to be tight as to whether we can get to the dry weather. Munro's starting to look a bit more comfortable, starting to pull away from the field now that we've gone up to push. It's definitely allowed Munro to start stretching that gap out a little bit. Now we could try and force the issue again by getting Munro to back up even more, and hope that he can defend and hold people off. But we're going for a championship, a team championship, not a drivers championship, so we need both drivers to score heavily every race. And I think sacrificing Munro just so that Eka could get the win would be a little bit counterproductive, especially if one of the cars doesn't make it to the finish because of reliability issues. So Munro's engine and gearbox looking a lot better, in a lot better shape than Eka's at the moment. Tyres getting down to around 50% now. And we just need to make sure we go the distance. 7 laps to go, 7 laps gone. So maybe I think we do go back to neutral and just try and cool these down a bit now. Now that Monroe has created that little gap back. So Surikov is actually saving fuel, which could be managing a car issue, or could be very clever play from the AI, although I doubt it, of trying to get enough fuel to last until it dries out. But going from everything I can see, I think we're easily going to be able to make it to when the rain stops. So now that we've got them to back up a little bit, Munro's still keeping that gap behind, 2.6 seconds. 2.7, actually increasing a little bit there. Eka is continuing to eke out that gap up front. And once again, when she starts on pole and it's bucketing down, she is nearly unbeatable. But we have to make sure we get the tyre change right this time, because we've mucked this up every time this happened last year. She could have easily got a couple of wins last year if we hadn't have destroyed the tyres in the way we did. Luckily, I think our car this year is much better on its tyres, and that's showing because we seem pretty equal with everybody else in terms of tyre life at the moment. So it's now really starting to dry out. The rain has stopped, and we need to make a decision of when to come in then. I think it's probably okay now, so we're going to bring in Eka first, and we're going to go on to... Now, you see, again, this is fuel dependent, because we can only put 13 laps in, so it's going to have to be it's going to have to be 2 stops from now on. So we may as well go super soft this stint and try and extend our lead again, and then maybe go on to the softs for the final stint. Car looking okay, suspension and front wing once again are the worrying parts. Now with the refuelling we definitely can't double stack them, so Munro's going to have to go 1 lap longer, which means Eka might lose her rear gunner this next time around. But this is the important one then. Eka coming in. We will schedule Munro's pit stop for the moment. Everything looking okay. I think we can probably go a little shorter on the fuel. Actually no, if we're going 24 laps we have to put... Super softs might have been the wrong choice. If they don't last 12 laps we're in trouble. I guess 10 laps with a 14 lap fuel tank we might be okay. Let's go for a different strategy just in case. Because if Eka mucks up the strategy, let's not forget Munro is still technically in the lead of the race. We're in a good position here that we can probably split the strategies. Right, Eka, all good, great stop. Everybody else was stopping that lap, so she's not going to have any problem with traffic. And she is back out into the race in 2nd place then. Everything looking pretty great. Very different strategies going on. Once again, exactly what happened last time. The AI put medium tyres on. They can only go 14 laps on fuel. What's the point? The mediums do 20 laps, but there's no way that anybody is ever going to be able to do 20 laps. Now, can Munro get back out in 2nd? He can't. There's a mistake on the tyres, that's why. And he's back down to 3rd place then. So we can go back to medium on the fuel for now. Munro can probably use high mode for a couple of laps. Only needs to do 12 laps, technically. But if we can go a bit longer on the softs, then we can probably go super soft for the final stint. Right, now we're going to find out Eka's true pace. Because Surikov behind is on slower tyres, but is finally free of Munro. And we can tell already that Surikov is going to be cruising on up. Now Surikov is using fuel pretty aggressively. I feel we can probably use fuel, a little bit of fuel, just to try and keep that gap to Surikov if we can. Monroe once again then will be rear gunner for the rest of the field. So even if Surikov catches us, then we could still have second and third sewed up. To be fair though, now that we've increased the fuel, that gap is stabilising and even going back up to Surikov. So we can use that fuel to defend if we need to. I'm a little worried about the tyres though. I'm going to go to conserve, because we need to get to lap... Well, to be fair, we only need to get to lap 20. We should be okay on this then. Well, we'll go to neutral for a couple of laps just to bring them back down. Doesn't seem to have made any difference behind. Someone else pitted, or was Monroe? Monroe is just eking this out here. Good pace from Monroe after his couple of outlaps, and starting to extend that gap behind. So I'm fairly confident we've got the pace here to finish both cars on the podium. We just need to get the final stop right, as long as it doesn't rain again, and make sure the cars don't break down. We're already down to 30% then, and 29% on the front wing. And this is going to be the worrying thing now. Right. Monroe, we're actually continuing to use the fuel there. That's probably why his gap lasting so much. I didn't notice that. Right, so we're past halfway, but the car doesn't look in good shape. And it's going to be one of those horrible things, once again, deciding whether we risk taking the car to the end or make repairs in the final stop. It's going to be tricky. Right, let's go back up to neutral. Now, over all these races, we've made the decision either way, and it's turned out in both directions multiple times, so it's complete luck here if we decide to stay out as to whether we'll make it till the end. Eka needs to come in a couple of laps then, and we'll probably put on the soft tyres just to be certain she can get to the end. The only advantage we've got here is there's a lot of cars out on the mediums, so we have got quite a big gap. I mean, Eka's got 12 seconds over third place, so can probably afford to maybe repair that front wing. And it's a case of, is it belt and braces, or do we risk it? Right, 14 laps to go. We need to do another lap just to make sure we're safe on fuel. So we'll bring Eka in this time around. So she would have done about 11 laps on the softs, so we'll go on the super softs just to be sure. There'll be 12 laps to go, so we'll put a little over 12 laps in. And I think we've got to be sure. It's 11 seconds, so if everything goes right, she'll get back out in second place when it all shakes down, and possibly even the lead if we do the same with Monroe, so it might not change anything. What am I talking about? Surikov is right behind. Yeah, she's going to lose the lead to Surikov here if we do this. I don't think we've got any choice. Just to be sure, we're definitely going to have to do it with the front wing for Monroe. Okay, in comes Eka. Let's hope there's no mistakes in the stop. Let's stop Monroe next time round then. Monroe could probably go a couple more laps and go on to the super softs for the final stint. Just give him a bit more pace. Right, repairs complete. And she's going to come back out in traffic, unfortunately. She's got a little bit of excess fuel, so we'll push a little bit on the way out. Traffic is not helpful here, because she's going to lose even more time. Right, Surikov in this time round then. Surikov, no repairs needed. There's going to be a big gap between the pair of them. This traffic is a nightmare. Right, Monroe's going to come in this time round then for some super softs. We have to repair that front wing. And fuel, we can go a little light. Alright, around 10 seconds between Eka and Surikov. So Surikov is on the medium tyres, so as soon as we get released, there's a chance we can chase him back down. Crucial thing here is getting back out ahead of everybody else. If Eka can hold on to second place, I will take that as a result. There goes Eka then. So Stranby's still to pit, so Eka is technically in second place. Monroe's unfortunately been jumped by Larson, having pitted a lap early. Well, actually was jumped in the pits, but that's probably because of the repairs made. Got a little bit of excess fuel for the moment. We'll keep an eye on the engine and gearbox. Gearbox not looking great on Eka, so we'll probably have to carry excess fuel for the rest of the race, unfortunately. And what can Eka do then? Has she got the pace to chase down Surikov? It's a big old gap. And the gap is just going up and up then. Eka coming under pressure as well from Larson, so this is not over for second either. And Monroe coming under pressure from McLeod and Cruz as well, so it's not over for fourth. And this is where we're going to get exposed for our lack of pace, because all the cars around us, despite us being generally on better tyres or the same tyres, they're a lot quicker. A lot quicker. Right, I'm going to go push and high and see if we can make a little gap. I think Monroe, we need to stay on neutral just to make sure that those super softs go the distance. I'm worried about the gearbox with Eka, but we'll keep it for a couple of laps and just see if she can pull out a gap. It's starting to take effect already then, as she makes a couple of seconds up on Larson, but that gearbox already showing the pain. We've got the same with Monroe. So we're going to have to go back to medium, I think, on both. Right, first is gone. We can't get first. So let's try and ensure we get second and at least fourth. If we can get Monroe past Larson, that would be a result. But I think if he was going to do it, he would have done it by now. Unfortunately, he's past the best of these super softs and doesn't seem to have anything like the pace needed to get past Larson. Now of course we've got excess fuel, but I just don't want to risk the gearbox. I'm already worried Eka's is going to go bang. By the end of the race she's already in that zone that it's very possible. I'm just going to go back to neutral on those tyres, because we've probably gone a bit hard on those as well. It's a waiting game now, really. There's nothing I can do. I need to keep the cars safe, so I can't push anymore. I need to keep the tyres safe, so we're just going to have to sit here and watch it unfold. So Eka seems to have the pace over Larson. Monroe is the danger at the moment. He's definitely not going to catch Larson, but has got McLeod stalking him every which way he turns. gearbox on Eka's car is looking super dangerous now. It's just luck of the draw now. 2.5 laps to go then. It's a long way for that gearbox to last. Monroe's tyres starting to worry me a little bit as well now. I can go to conserve, but I think that's just going to do more damage. I think his gearbox is okay though, so I think I'm happy to go up to push on his gearbox to try and negate dropping the tyres down to make sure they get to the end. Those super softs are going to fall off the cliff, I think. Last lap. We should be okay. We should be okay. Right, Eka is okay. Gonna make it round. Monroe might come under some intense pressure right at the end here. This is gonna be nail biting stuff then. Surikov takes a good win. I think we should have won that today. We need to work on our reliability again. It was those repairs, those belt and braces repairs. But Eka is going to cross the line in second. Is a great result. And 4th place for Monroe means that it's a slight improvement on our opening result. And another 2nd place for Eka means that we should still be leading the championship. And once again, considering where our car is, an incredibly good result. Whenever we get these cars to the front, or starting at the front, we always have a good race. Eka is just born to lead from the front. And once again, we've let her down again, unfortunately, with the repairs. If we didn't make those, there's a chance she could have made it to the end, but I didn't want to risk it. I'd rather take the 2nd place than have no points at all, for the sake of the few points we drop going from 1st to 2nd. But all in all, a good race. And of course she got pole position as well, so she gets a couple more points for that. So that means that we only drop a couple of points to Surikov, whereas it could have been more. And in terms of the team situation, Esprit, we beat both their cars home, so we outscore them nicely. Once again, a driver in 17th, getting the fastest lap. There is a rule now, I think it's Formula E. There was a thing where cars were dropping out and trying to do the quickest lap they could for the rest of the race, knowing they couldn't finish in the 2nd car because they've only got 50% race capacity in the 2nd car. Just to get the fastest lap. They've changed a rule this year that you have to be in the top 10 to get the fastest lap points, which I think is something that should be implemented here, because I don't really think it's very fair that someone in 17th gets more points than someone in 7th, or the same as someone in 5th, to be fair. Anyway, 2nd piece of silverware. Still that top place eludes us. Hopefully we can get there at some point during the season and stay there on a regular basis. It means that Eka moves above Latien, but stays behind Surikov, and Monroe drops to 4th, and we are 2nd and 4th in the championship then. But the crucial one, we still lead the Constructors' Championship by 6 points now, extending our lead a little bit over Kirov. And the best start to the season we could hope for. And I would hope that this only gets easier now. If we can pull off these kind of results when our car is in as bad a shape as it is, then there's a lot of hope to come once we start developing our car. And 1.6 in the bank then puts us back in the green, even with those 2 suspension parts we've made. So everything looking rosy over here at Octane Racing. And another good episode. I think we need to keep this belief going, keep it rolling on. There is a very good chance we can win this championship outright this year. And that is, of course, our aim. So I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. As always, keep your help and advice coming. Don't forget to tune in rest of the week. I mean, we've got another ORL pre-season race starting around 7. There'll be another Haas mode Haas career mode video out probably Friday. I'll try and get an F1 video episode out at the weekend. And then there is the Endurance Series is back, if you haven't seen it already, as a live stream, and that's going to be Sundays from 7 PM from now on. So if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, you can subscribe as well. It'd be very much appreciated. And as always, thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you again next time.